I'm Leah Lawrence.
And I'm her husband, Mitch Lawrence.
And you are listening to the Southern Spirits Podcast, where I regale my husband with Southern stories of the macabre, creepy, and strange.
And I drink.
So what are you drinking tonight, Mitchell?
We have a wine tonight, Leah.
Woo!
Are
wine.
you excited?
No, because I can't drink it.
Correct. This is Indian Summer, bottled by Hillside, also known as Millbridge Winery in Sevierville, Tennessee. 11.5% alcohol by volume. Let's read the bottle. A blend of grape and blueberry wines with natural flavor. Located on the original road into the Great Smoky Mountains from Pigeon Forge, our winery is proud to be a part of the rich heritage of the area. Using locally sourced fruit, we provide the very best wine Tennessee has to offer. Enjoy some while relaxing on our deck overlooking the Little Pigeon River with views of the historic Old Mill District. End quote. What I have to say about it, this is one of my favorite things I've ever tried. For real. When we went to the winery the first time and did a tasting there, they said this is their top seller, and it's with reason. It's sparkling and it's served chilled, which isn't, normally a thing for red wines, but it makes sense because this is very tart. The blueberry really pulls out a sour, pulls off a sour, maybe I should say. Pulls out? That's not right. But it's fantastic. One of my favorite things I've ever had. You could not tell that it's 11.5% alcohol because it's so smooth and really easy to drink. And whenever we go back to Gatlinburg, I will be buying more of this. Leah.
Okay.
It's so good. That's it. That's all I got to say.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah. Now, you did try it.
Yeah, I did
time.
take a sip. It made my tongue itchy, so I didn't continue.
Because of the blueberries.
Yeah.
If it's your first time listening, Leah's allergic to everything, and one of those everythings is blueberries.
My only food allergy is blueberries, as far as I know. But I also think that I might have a problem with lactose, but I also don't want to find out because I fucking love lactose. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I'm allergic to blueberries, so I sipped a little bit of his and made my tongue itch real bad. So I'm not even going to try any more of it.
It's so good, though.
Yeah.
10 out of 10, if you can't tell already. Just fantastic. And we talked about a couple weeks ago when we had one of their ciders on, that deck that they even talk about on their label here. It's just really nice. It's really quaint and peaceful to sit out there and drink an entire bottle of Indian Summer. And
a pro tip, if you're waiting for your reservation at the Millbridge restaurant, which is really popular, it's a great place to wait on your table because you can hear all the numbers being called right up there.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
That's very true.
Have yourself a glass of wine. Wait on the best breakfast you'll eat up there.
Yeah, I agree. That's so good.
They bring out breakfast before they let you order breakfast. It is awesome.
Yeah, what is it? It's a little banana nut muffins.
Yeah, they bring out little mini muffins and like juice and water before you even sit down and order anything. It's wonderful experience. The wine is also wonderful. Go find some if you can. Yeah. I'm not sure if they sell it in stores around the area, but if you are anywhere near Pigeon Forge, go to the Millbridge Winery and get some of this Indian Summer if you're not allergic to blueberries. Yeah, all of the wineries in that area are together in, I think they call it the Rocky Top Wine Trail or something, and most of the wineries carry everybody's wine. Yeah. So you can purchase that at pretty much any of the local winery locations in Gatlinburg, or if you're in a state that you're allowed to ship alcohol to, you can buy it online. Yeah, they can do it online. They can't ship it here. Yeah, Alabama is not one of those states, but if you are in a state where they allow you to get alcohol by mail, strap in. They've got a great selection. Yes, go to their website and do it for real. Millbridge Winery, just Google it, you'll find it, and get some Indian Summer. It's out of this world. It's so good. But we need to move on, Leah. Yeah. We spent too long on this. Okay. Our shot in the dark for the night, Mark and Digger's Hazelnut Rum Moonshine, produced and bottled by Sugarlands Distilling Company, LLC in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, 40% alcohol by volume. Let's read the online description, and Leah, you just take a break. This is going to be a couple minutes. All right. This is 3 whole paragraphs. All right, here we go. Hazelnut rum meets the nose with sweet aromas of toasted hazelnut and brown sugar. It is a smooth, full-bodied spirit that blends the tastes of vanilla, cinnamon, and honey and finishes with a sweet, oaky kick sure to satisfy the rum lover in everyone.
Now we're going to move on to the namesakes of the moonshine. Here we go. Mark Ramsey grew up exploring the woods of East Tennessee. As a young man, he was introduced to a local moonshine expert and quickly learned the trade through hand-on experience. He and his distilling partner, Digger Maines, now carry that journeyman craftsmanship forward with their distinctly delicious recipes. Second person. Digger Maines has been around the still most of his life. As a young man, he was introduced to a local moonshine legend in Cocke County? C-O-C-K-E? There we go. Cocke County, Tennessee. After putting in his time as a still hand, Digger, along with his distilling partner Mark Ramsey, has mastered the craft of distillation. He is now a legend in his own right. Okay, we're done with the quote. You seem puzzled over there.
I was trying to spell that word out in my head, and I failed.
What, Cocke? C-O-C-K-E. It's Cocke County. As far as I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know any of the Tennessee counties except the ones that are near us, so sorry. Can't help.
All right, personal review section. What I have, I'm just going to read my first sentence because it's so ridiculous, okay? I have, with an exclamation point, Sugarlands does it again! That's what I said. It's so goofy. This tastes exactly like sweet hazelnut. Really, there are absolutely no gimmicks with it. It just tastes like alcoholic hazelnut, and it's really freaking good. This is one of the stronger ones they have, though. So when you drink it on ice, like I gave it a 9 out of 10 on ice, you really need to let the ice sit for a minute, and it's a sipper. Because if you just pour it on ice to get it a little chilled and then take a sip, you're going to be like, oh, this is awful, because it's very strong. Let it sit and take a tiny little swig of it, and it's really good. It's very tasty. Let it roll over the back of your tongue. Leah's looking at me weird while I'm saying roll over the back of your tongue.
No, I'm just thinking about what it would be good in as a cocktail.
Well, the only thing that we have is ginger ale, and it's real good with ginger ale. I could have made it with peach soda, but I don't think that would have been good.
No, that sounds gross. My idea is, and hear me out,
okay.
You get sort of like a take on a White Russian, but you do milk and that, and then top it with that chocolate liqueur that we've got.
Hell yeah.
I think that would be really excellent. Or use cream, because we do have cream in the refrigerator. Or just the chocolate liqueur and that together to do sort of like a Nutella kind of situation.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Why have we not done that? Oh my goodness. Oh, we should have done that.
Do you want to stop and go make one and come back?
I don't want to. No, because I don't want to get up. I've already
I'll make you one.
I had a separate bottle of wine before we started, so.
Okay.
I'm fine. I don't need any more fantastic tasting liquor.
Okay.
I'm good.
We'll try it tomorrow.
I don't know if I said I did give it a 9 out of 10 with ginger ale, because it just mixes together well. Ginger ale is good with everything because it checks all the boxes. It does. It kind of overpowers the alcohol, and it's real crisp. It's just good. So this gets a 9 out of 10 overall. It's fantastic. Sugarlands is, they're the pros. This is what they do.
Yeah. Sweet tourist liquor. I love it.
Yeah. Did you say sweet forest liquor?
Tourist liquor.
Oh, yeah. It is. And it's so wonderful.
Yeah, like this is not like backwoods Uncle Bubba has a secret kind of moonshine. Like, that shit's disgusting. If you've ever had any, 0 out of 10 would not recommend. This shit is refined and filtered and probably won't kill you from radiator fluid. So, just saying.
It's so good, though.
It's touristy. It's not what old-timers think of as moonshine, but it's very good. Would recommend.
I agree. And that's it for the alcohols, Leah, because it's already been 9 minutes.
All right.
That is way too long. So
I'm sorry.
We're done.
Okay.
Moving on.
All right. Well, we have a sassy Southern saying that was sent in to us by a listener. So I guess this is listener mail and a sassy Southern saying.
Listener mail. I almost hit the soundboard. I'm so glad I didn't.
I don't think we do that.
I saw that email too. I did not read it because I was like, oh, that's for Leah. I'm not going to read that.
So this comes from Jess. I'm just going to read the whole email because it's funny and I like it. Okay. Not that you were asking for sayings, but my grandma says something that I forget is ridiculous and wanted to share, even if it's just for y'all.
Okay.
Also, I haven't listened to old episodes in a while, or re-listened to old episodes in a while, so it's possible you've shared this and I've forgotten.
No excuses.
No,
go back and re-listen to everything. No excuses.
You must be up to date on our canon. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. Let's see. The phrase is, he can stick his head in the oven, but that don't make him a biscuit. typically used in a good old Baptist way, meaning he can call himself a Christian, but if he acts like a sack of crap, we don't believe him. But it can be used for any type of pretending to be something that you aren't. Hope y'all are feeling better, Jess.
I've never heard that. It makes me so happy because that's one of those things. Leah knows that I love to do this. For the comedy factor, I will take sayings and completely butcher them. So at some point in the next couple days, something's going to happen, and I'm going to go, well, that don't make him a biscuit. Leah's going to go, what the fuck does that mean?
See, my grandma says one similar to that. She's told me, well, you can drop him in the river, but that don't make him a fish.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing, but the biscuits is way better.
He's going to be a soggy little flour ball.
The biscuit part's way better.
Yeah.
I like the biscuit part.
That's so funny. Oh, thank you for that.
That was fantastic, Jess. Thank you.
Yeah. He can call himself a Christian, but that don't make him a biscuit. That's what I'm talking about.
Is that preacher a biscuit or not?
That don't make him no communion wafer.
Lord, y'all, the communion wafers that they serve at my church are god-awful.
I have so much to say about this. Because y'all know from listening, I don't do church. It's not my thing. When I was growing up, I grew up Methodist, and we had like actual wafers and grapefruit juice when we did communion. I've been to Leah's. Y'all, they have grapefruit juice, but I'm telling you that they are giving those people...
grape juice. Grapefruit is totally different.
I'm sorry, not grapefruit juice, right. There are going to be so many pregnant Baptists by accident. It's just deactivating all the birth control. But I'm telling you, the wafers they give at that fucking church... it is styrofoam.
Yeah, it's basically
they are
cellulose.
Serving you styrofoam.
Yeah, it's really gross.
It is the grossest fucking thing, and it's the size of like oh my god, I don't even know how to say it. Like, you know the stickers we've been putting together, that Lego set.
It's like a chiclet.
Yeah, it's like a chiclet. That's perfect. It's a chiclet size wafer, and you put it in your mouth, and your mouth immediately you're like, I need a gallon of water right now.
It is like just
And it like breaks apart in your mouth just like styrofoam and these little balls and stuff.
Yeah, it's
I'm
really
telling
gross.
you, they're serving you styrofoam.
Yeah, it's really bad. And I've told you this before, but I'm allergic to the sulfates in the grape juice that they serve, and I break out in hives on my forearms.
Yeah, every time.
And my brother says that I'm allergic to Jesus' love. So there you go.
To the blood of Christ.
And what's even better is this year, since it's COVID time, they are still doing the Christmas communion that Mitch always gets dragged to. But this time, instead of passing trays around, everybody's going to come in and pick up their prepackaged Jesus juice.
Oh, no, I was hoping it would bring your own crackers and juice.
Oh my God, that'd be so funny. We'd be bringing flatbread with a brie spread on it. And
Bring your own salvation.
Lord, no, this is Takeout Jesus, and it's got little peely cups and a peely cracker. It's gonna be awful. So looking forward to that one.
Tell them we can just we just got something from Amazon the other day. We can just bring in styrofoam. We can just bring our own.
Oh, don't spend money on that, y'all. I got Hawaiian punch and styrofoam.
I've got this Indian summer wine that tastes just like what they serve, but serves the purpose that it's supposed to.
What are you gonna do? All right. So thank you to Jess for sending that saying in. Thank you to Mitchell for, I don't know how that got brought up, but awesome.
I hate the communion at your church.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
It is the worst. This is fucking, if nothing else is an indicator of late stage capitalism, the goddamn styrofoam they serve in your church absolutely is. We got to cut costs. We pay the preacher $80,000 a year. We got to cut costs somewhere.
$76,000.
Oh, my fucking bad. But for you, take back $1,000 and get some fucking saltines. Do something.
When I was a little kid, they were saltines, but then some of the older, more Orthodox people decided that it wasn't good to have salted body of Christ, so you had to go to something different.
Ask them if they've ever licked a person. People are very salty.
That's true.
And people also don't dry the fuck out of your mouth.
But Baptists don't believe in transubstantiation, so it's not technically the body. It's just a representation.
Then why do they even do this thing?
I don't know.
I'm so upset.
Well, let's move on from the weird communion talk. How about we go into our very first story of the evening?
Okay, but I'm still upset about the styrofoam.
I'm sorry. You don't have to go if you don't want to. All right.
Thank you. Is that for real?
No, it's not.
Yeah, okay.
No, legitimately are going.
Looks like I'm going, but I'm bringing a bag of chips or something.
That's fun.
I'm not eating their goddamn crackers.
Oh, Oh, Lord, you heretic. I love you.
I don't give a fuck.
All right, so we are going to be talking about a fun cryptid out of Houston, Texas. Are you ready?
I'm very ready.
All right, it's called the NASA Gargoyle.
Oh, NASA? Mm-hmm. I'm guessing that's a town, though. It's not like NASA.
No, it's NASA.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
NASA has a gargoyle?
Apparently.
Is it an alien?
Debatable. Anyway,
Okay,
so this sighting is from 1986. A man named Frank Shaw was working as an employee at the Johnson Space Flight Center there in Houston, obviously run by NASA.
Right.
And all of this information was... he didn't talk about it much in his life, but his daughter, after he died, spoke with people about the story from his life and from his journals and stuff like that. And it made the. I think she did an interview about it in 2004, and it made the paranormal rounds.
Interesting.
And it became kind of a thing for a while. But anyway, I'll tell you the story. But like I said, none of this is directly from the guy. It's all from his daughter.
Okay.
So just bear that in mind as I am telling the story. So it was a dark, stormy evening in 1986. And like I said, Houston Johnson Space Flight Center. And this man, Frank Shaw, was getting off of work, and he was crossing the parking lot getting to his car, and he has a run-in with some kind of creepy, spooky little motherfucking cryptid.
Okay.
So he's going out to his car, and he realizes he gets this weird sense of dread. Something's wrong. Something's watching him. He feels like he's being stalked. It's freaking him out, and he has no reason to be freaked out because it's a normal go into the car and heading home after a long day of work at NASA.
He just got a creepy feeling.
Yeah, he got one of those real feelings,
Oh, I know.
And so he was walking across, and he had stayed late that night working on some kind of project. So he was, later than normal, but, his family wasn't worried about him because he works late hours occasionally, and, it's not a big deal. So it's late at night. He's walking across this parking lot. He gets this awful feeling, and he kind of glances up, and he sees this gargoyle creepy spooky figure kind of sitting on the edge of one of the buildings there at the Space Center. He describes it as being jet black, a humanoid shape. It seemed that it had a large cape draped across his shoulders, but it's possible that it wasn't a cape and it was just its wings.
Is it Batman?
It sounds like Batman to me.
Sounds an awful lot like Batman.
And it says that he had massive bat-like wings sticking out of either side of the fabric or the flesh, depending on whatever it might have been.
That's just Batman.
Possibly. Batman, but legit Batman.
Yeah, like Man-Bat.
Man-Bat, definitely.
Yeah.
And
if y'all don't know your comic book lore, that's on you.
And it definitely sort of gives a real Mothman kind of situation feel to it. So he sees it, and he sees that it sees him, and it freaks him out pretty bad, and he kind of gets sort of terrified, stuck in place. You know what I mean? He's just fight or flight isn't working here. I'm not going to do either. I'm just going to shit myself and stand in one place. And so it freaks him out really bad, and he said that it felt as though the creature sort of smiled at him, kind of like he knew that he was making him uncomfortable and scared, and that he enjoyed it. You know what I mean? He was attempting to intimidate him.
Sounds to me like he's being friendly.
No. Or maybe he's just got rest encrypted face and is trying to be nice, but it comes off as terrifying.
Yeah. That's probably it.
Yeah. So, like I said, a lot of people kind of say that he's very Mothman adjacent,
Mm-hmm.
But there are a few other cryptids in the South Texas area that kind of can be possibly related to this sighting. Some people think thunderbirds could be related to this. There's another Birdman sighting situation a little bit further south from there. So there are reports of this type of creature in the area, but this one specifically is sighted around the Johnson Space Flight Center. And he freaks out, and eventually he realizes that it's not coming at him and that he needs to get to his car and get the fuck out of there as soon as possible before it starts coming towards him.
Okay.
So he says that he sees it unfurl its wings, and it's making a weird crackling noise, and it takes flight. And these, like, this wing sound, the flapping, sort of gets him to, like, turn back on and go into the flight mode. So he freaks out, and he gets his keys, he unlocks his car door, he dives inside, and, like, he locks the door, and the gargoyle creature passes over him, and he just jets it. Like, he peels out of that parking lot as fast as he fucking can, and is just like freaking the fuck out, speeding back home. So when he gets home, he's obviously shaken. His family's like, "Are you fucking okay?" And he is like, "No, I am not fucking okay. Fucking man-bat just attacked me back there and I don't know what to do." And he tells the family his story. He's like, "Okay, this is what happened. This is what it was. I'm fucking terrified." And his wife and daughter eventually are like, "Yeah, we believe you. Fine, but please, for the love of God, don't tell your supervisors about this shit, or they're gonna try to, like, I don't know, put you in a mental institution, sir. You don't want to lose your credibility at work, because this is just, we believe you, but we don't think they'll believe you." Yeah. So he was like, "Okay, fine, not a problem. I'm not gonna tell anybody." But he's got kind of mild PTSD kind of feelings from this situation. He's terrified of going into work. He's terrified of coming home by himself late at night. It's just a real problem for him, and he's getting anxious and having a hard time at work because of it. So eventually he was like, "Okay, I have an immediate supervisor that I kind of trust, that we can talk with to try to let him kind of know what's going on as to why I'm freaking out so bad all the time."
Still shouldn't tell him.
Yeah, definitely don't tell your supervisor if you're seeing man-bat in the parking lot. Unless you work where I do, and it's probably a coyote, and in fact, you should tell the supervisor, because, yeah, the coyotes are dangerous in our parking lot.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he eventually decides, okay, I'm going to tell my supervisor. So he gets into a meeting with his supervisor, and he tells them everything. And instead of being like, "Holy fucking shit, dude, do you need a break? You need to, like, have a therapist or something?" Instead, he was told, "You're not the first person to see this."
Oh. Sounds classified.
Yeah, it's been reported many times by different employees, and in fact, they revealed that there was a file that had been opened, an investigation into this creature a few months prior to this guy seeing it.
Not a file.
A file, Mitchell.
Not a file.
A file.
Oh.
Anyway, so shot in the dark.
Oh, here we go. It's that time.
The creature had actually been tied to the death of 2 animals on base. What were the animals?
Oh, you're making me do both?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was 2 of the same type of animal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A pair of animals.
Okay.
Yeah. So were they A, dogs, B, goats, C, cows?
Let's just go with cows.
No, they were dogs.
Well, son of a bitch.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
upset about the dog.
Yeah, I hate it when the dogs die in the stories.
Yeah, everything else, go right ahead.
So the supervisor said that the file had been created because they had found 2 of the base's, like, security German Shepherds. They were found in their, like, kennel areas. The corpses. The corpses had been mutilated, and they had exsanguinated the canines, is what it says.
Is that when they remove all the blood and, like, turn it inside out?
Yeah, it sucked all the blood out.
Yeah.
Or, drained the body of blood in some manner. And it had been discovered pretty close to the area where Shaw had seen the gargoyle as well. So after he made this confession that he had seen it, the supervisor passes this sighting story up the chain of command, and eventually some of the higher ups in NASA get a hold of this story, and they send in interrogators to interrogate him about this sighting. Apparently they send in, and once again, this is according to the daughter, so how much of this is factual is very debated, but according to her, NASA sent in, quote, security people that they flew in from somewhere in Arizona. And the security people are very Men in Blacky kind of types, you know? And they basically interrogated him and intimidated him into saying, basically, don't tell this story to anybody else, or your job and your family are going to be in danger. So just don't.
That's ridiculous. Why? Because Man-Bat's coming after him?
Because I guess they wanted to keep Man-Bat under wraps.
Man-Bat hates the liberal media.
Maybe Man-Bat is, you know, one of their experiments gone wrong, and they don't want anybody to know about it.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Man-Bat is Nazi propaganda.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, this is the 80s, so...
We still have Nazi propaganda today, Leah.
Well, true, but that would be like neo-Nazi propaganda.
It's all the same.
Fun. But anyway, so that's why, according to the daughter, that she waited so long to tell her father's story, because he had died at that point, and it was, you know, pretty easy for her to tell the story without her feeling like she was endangering him.
Right, they felt safe. But then those people died very quickly, didn't they?
Yeah. I haven't heard any other reports from her, but...
They fell off the face of the earth, didn't they?
But anyway, there haven't been any more, like, public reports of this particular entity in, you know, since the 80s. But that could also be just because the employees of NASA aren't fucking talking about it because they know that they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it was a really fun cryptid tale. I like space stuff, and I don't know. The fact that NASA has a Man-Bat just makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it because it reminded me that I've played a lot of Arkham Knight recently. And Man-Bat's in that. Yeah, I enjoy Man-Bat. It's a fun story. Dr. Kirk Langstrom, Leah. That's who it is. So
such a fucking nerd.
It's just NASA scientist Kirk Langstrom.
He was just trying to get home, dude.
Yeah,
like,
he was just trying to get home.
You drive a car, he flaps his wings. Same thing.
On top of the building. Like, where the fuck do I live again? Which way do I go from here? Yeah.
And it was the 80s, so cocaine might have been involved. You never know.
Yeah, 100%. This is a NASA scientist that got real fucked up on coke, like down the rabbit hole of a binge. And it's not like meth where you get kind of creative doing it. But this guy was so smart already that he was like, I'm going to build me some fleshy wings. And I'm going to make me some sharp teeth. And I'm going to scare people.
And I'm going to wear a cape, goddammit, because why not? Where else can I wear a cape except on top of the roof?
Yeah, I agree. Like, you look like a fool coming out of the bathroom in a cape. Get on top of the building.
Yeah.
I agree. Completely agree, Leah. With Dr. Kirk Langstrom.
Oh, Lord, you're ridiculous. Okay. But anyway, so yeah, that was the NASA gargoyle.
Yep. Oh, God. That was a story.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Good.
And I'm glad that we went over proper cape utilization.
No capes.
At the end of that. Yeah, no capes, because capes are just a terrible idea.
Yeah, they get stuck in shit. It's a bad choice. I've always wanted one, but, you know, still a bad choice.
We can get you a cape. You know, there's no reason for you to not have a cape.
Yeah, except for the fact that I'd be the nerd with a cape.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be the 31-year-old. But the thing is, you haven't been in your office for 8 months now.
No.
You can just wear a cape sitting at home.
It's not the same.
You can do work on the phone. No one will ever know you're in a cape.
Like, okay, so I've had this conversation with other people before, but like, I'm not one of those people that gets dressed up for myself. And like some people that like do costumes and cosplay and stuff like that, they'll just stay at home and they'll get dressed up in like cosplay and makeup that took 12 hours to do just for themselves because they enjoy being in costume.
It's empowering.
That's great. I'm glad for you. But if nobody's going to sit and give me attention for how cute I fucking look in this costume that I spent forever making, I don't give a fuck. it is very much attention-seeking behavior for me, like making costumes, and it always has, like for myself. Now, I love making costumes for other people and making sure they look great. That's fun too. But like if I'm making something for myself, I'm making it so other people pay attention to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a very like mild, chill person. I don't talk a lot in public, but like when I want to be fancy and when I want people to pay attention to me, I fucking make something phenomenal, so they have to pay attention to me.
I have a perfect,
so, like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to have a cape and just sit on top of a roof with it. I'm going to have a fucking cape, and I'm going to parade through NASA and be like, bitches, look at my cape.
Yeah. I was going to say I have a perfect example of this behavior you're speaking of, because many years ago, Leah wanted to, as y'all all know, Leah makes costumes and things when she wants to.
Yeah.
We were going to go to a Halloween party with some of my college friends. Leah showed up in this immaculately made pin-up Stay Puft Marshmallow Man costume. And she was like, it's exciting. It's a costume party. Let's go. She made me a the Coon from South Park costume. It was awesome. And we get there, and you can tell that she's uncomfortable because like her costume's really nicely made and put together. And, you know, just for an example of whatever other people were wearing, one of my fraternity brothers came dressed as his own scrotum.
Which I had to draw the veins on because he didn't know how to draw veins on his own fucking costume.
I forgot about that part.
I took Sharpie and drew testicle veins on him.
It's a whole story where there's this thing that they call the bat wing, where he just like at a party would pull out his ball sack and stretch the skin as far as it would go. And he had a very elastic ball sack, like we all do, but his was especially... Like, he'd been doing this for years or something. And so he came dressed in a shirt that was tattered so that it was basically a cape. He had wings. And Leah drew the veins on his ball sack for him. Not his ball sack, on him when he was his ball sack.
Dressed as his ball sack.
Yeah. So, yeah, Leah was standing in the party like, well, this is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. It was very uncomfortable. Everybody looked at me like I was a try-hard fool.
Well.
Which I was.
You tried hard. What are you going to do?
I looked better than everybody else. Fuck them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Everybody was more enamored with like everybody went as characters from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
And one of them smelled like literal garbage.
He was the trash man as a character from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He like didn't bathe for a couple days to do
like
this.
He literally rubbed garbage on himself.
And you're in this incredibly professionally made costume. And he's just there in a wrestling leotard.
Like, I've got heels and a crinoline, and I've got a wig and like very like vampy makeup on, and this guy literally smells like trash.
Yeah, he kept farting too.
Whew.
He smelled so bad.
What a day. Anyway.
Oh, shout out to Ian.
Gross.
You were gross that night. On purpose. So it's like, I'm not saying something bad. He was gross that night.
Yeah, like that was
meant to be.
That was the most committed Halloween costume I think I've ever experienced.
Oh, it was great. But they pick a theme every year. Like one year they went as different wrestlers from the WWE.
See, why wasn't I invited to that year?
Well, I think we were, but we were already living up here. Like we didn't have any reason to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Anyway, awkward. Are you ready for our second story of the evening?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. This is a story that I actually didn't know about until I was scrolling on Instagram because, you know, mindless scroll. What else are you going to do in quarantine? And I actually found it on someone who's actually written into our podcast before to suggest stories. It's the Spooky Charlotte. Instagram handle. So if you're looking for them, it's spooky SPOOKYCLT. That's their handle. So go follow them on Instagram because they've got a lot of really fun, infographics about spooky things in Charlotte, which is really cool in my personal opinion.
Very interesting.
Yes.
I agree.
So shout out to Spooky Charlotte. But I'm going to be telling the story of the haunting of Reed's Gold Mine in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. And it is a gold mine haunting. So I didn't know where to go with that sentence. I'm sorry.
Weird. Yeah, I started out strong. I didn't know where to go.
Sorry. All right. Anyway, here we go. So North Carolina, weirdly enough, is one of the first places they found gold in the United States.
I didn't know
in
that.
a large amount. Yeah.
Oh.
So there was a dude named John Reed, and
he had a mine.
Yeah, well, he actually just had a farm.
Oh.
And in 1799, his son found a fun-looking yellow rock in the creek on his property on the Reed farm.
Oh, that's fun.
And it was a big old heavy rock, and he was like, hey, this is cool. It's a neat looking stone. Let's use it as a doorstop. So they used it as a doorstop until about 1802, so a few years. Then one of their acquaintances, who was a jeweler from Fayetteville, comes through and he sees the rock and he says, oh, that's a nice rock you got there. I'll pay you for it if you're cool with that. And he was like, sure, it's just a doorstop. If you want it, you can have it. So he paid $3.50 for this big old doorstop rock. And Mr. Reed spent that money to buy, groceries and a new fancy dress for his wife because, it was just a random doorstep rock. And any, fun extra money is nice to have. So, bought some nice stuff for it, and he didn't think much about it, but shot in the dark.
Oh, here we go. All right.
Mr. Reed later found out that the actual value of the rock was a lot more than the $3.50 that he was paid for it.
Right.
How much was the rock actually worth?
In this period's money, right?
In 1802 money.
Okay.
Was it $350, $3,500, or $35,000?
Oh, God. 35,000.
You're incorrect.
God damn, again? I was going to have to take the shot anyway, because Leah's not drinking tonight.
No, I'm on antibiotics. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah, she's not pregnant. Everybody calm down.
Well, I was going to say, I have to really hedge my bets here anytime I say that I'm not drinking, because people have asked me if I'm pregnant before. I'm not pregnant.
We
just on antibiotics. Sorry.
So, I mean,
what?
That's part of our marriage. We do not have sexual intercourse.
Ew, cut that out. They don't need to know about that. We gross. Lord.
I mean, okay.
Your mother listens to this.
The way that you respond to things makes me want to go, by the way, I'm joking, everybody, because Leah, you respond to go, they don't need to know that. I'm like, Leah, obviously I'm joking. I mean, there is no that to, forget it. Leah's not pregnant.
I'm not.
That's all that we're here to say. All right, we'll see you next week.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so it was $3,500.
Well, that's not that much.
Huh?
Well, back then it would have been.
Back then it was an exorbitant amount of money.
Yeah, I should have thought of that. I was still converting,
Yeah, no, this is still 1802 money. So he discovered that the retail value of that rock was $3,500, and he was a little peeved about that.
Jesus.
But the jeweler came back through and was like, hey, you got any more of them doorstep rocks? And he was like, look, I realized that you took advantage of me. Can I get some of that money, please? And he was like, yeah, sorry. Anyway, he ends up giving him $1,000 in compensation for having swindled him out of this doorstop rock.
How nice of him.
And anyway, he comes back through to buy more gold from him, and they had found more rocks. And so now Mr. Reed realizes that he has gold on his property. And the word of this discovery sort of starts spreading throughout the county, and then throughout the state, and then throughout the world. And North Carolina ended up being the leading producer of gold until they discovered, gold in California in 1848. Mm-hmm. So it became a huge gold production site
I'm so
for North
surprised
America.
to hear that. I really am.
You can actually visit this place still today. It's like a tourist site. It's got free admission. You could even still pan for gold there. So I think it would be a fun place to visit. But once again, it's going to be haunted, and I'll tell you about that haunting. Just for funsies.
Okay.
But anyway, Mr. Reed ends up bringing in some experts in mining from Cornwall in England, because apparently they, knew how to set up mines and stuff like that for that particular mineral that they were digging for. So they expanded from surface panning to digging shafts underground. And they were digging out tons of ore every year. The operation got pretty big, and you've got to also understand that at this time it was still pre-Civil War, so a lot of the labor was being done by locals because they were worried about bringing slaves into the mine, because they were worried that the slaves would pick up the gold in the mine and use it to buy their freedom. And that was a big concern of the people in this area. So a lot of the times it was, in fact, not slaves being down in the mine. They might have been used to do other ancillary work around the mine, but as far as actually doing the mining itself, they wouldn't. It was a fear that they would, pocket gold and buy their freedom, so they weren't generally allowed down in the mine areas themselves.
That's so ridiculous.
Just a weird. Like we want you to do the backbreaking labor, but we really don't want you to be able to buy your... anyway, I'm sorry. I hate people. But anyway.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So the Reed Gold Mine expanded, and it actually ended up being one of the main contributing factors of having Charlotte grow as big as and as wealthy as it did.
Yeah.
And for about 40 years, North Carolina was the number one supplier of the U.S. Mint for gold. And in 1804, they ended up shipping $11,000 worth of gold to the U.S. Mint. They were shipping about a quarter of their production to the U.S. Mint every year.
Wow.
So, that was a fuck ton of money in that time period.
Yeah.
So it was an absurd amount of gold that they were producing. And it made everybody in that area pretty wealthy that had a claim to this gold, and unfortunately, anywhere there's a lot of money, a lot of people get greedy and a lot of people get mean about it.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and so there was a property near Reed's farm where there was gold that was also found by a man named Mr. McIntosh. And Mr. McIntosh was kind of a dickweed. Just...
my favorite.
Yeah, he was very miserly. He was very greedy and didn't want to give. He was very Scroogey,
Yeah.
Pre-ghost situation. And so he ended up looking for a professional miner that could run his operation as well. So he found a man named Joe McGee, who was a very experienced miner. But McGee was a little concerned over this particular mine owner because he didn't think that he had the safety of the miners in mind. And he was worried that he would end up dying down there and his wife would be left with nothing.
Yeah,
so
as you should.
Before he took that job, he said to Mr. McIntosh, okay, if I die, will you promise to give my widow $1,000 so she can continue on with her life?
Jesus. And
Mr. McIntosh was like, that's not a problem. I'll give her $2,000 if you die down there. And so he was like, okay, we have an agreement. No problem. $2,000 life insurance policy, basically.
Was that put in writing?
No. And so McGee went to work for Mr. McIntosh. And obviously, one night, Mr. McGee did not make it home. And his wife, Jenny, was like, this isn't good. So she goes to the neighbors and to all of his friends, and they go down and they search the mine and they don't find anything, and they don't have any reports from the mine workers or anything like that he had died or any tragedy had happened. It was like he disappeared into thin air. And several weeks passed and her husband was just missing, didn't have any word from him, didn't do anything. So Jenny was like, okay, he's dead. this sucks, but like we got kids to feed. So she goes to Mr. McIntosh. It's like, look, you promised my husband $2,000 if he died down there. He hasn't come back. Where's my $2,000? Mm-hmm. And Mr. McIntosh was like, your husband ran off on you because you're a bad wife. Bye. And he just like slams the door in her face and is just like, fuck off.
Look,
and so
that probably shouldn't be that funny, but goddamn, that's funny.
Yeah. So she's reasonably pissed off at this point, which fine. And so she goes to, the rest of his friends and their neighbors and stuff and lets them know, hey, this motherfucker has cheated me out of $2,000 and isn't telling me about my husband's death. Can we do something or what? And soon after that encounter that Mr. McIntosh had with Jenny, another one of Mr. McGee's friends, his name was Sean with a U. It looks weird. I don't like it.
That is one way to spell the name Sean.
But Sean can be spelled so many different ways, and this one has a U in it, like the sheep. Anyway.
My favorite was a baseball player from the 80s and 90s named Sean Dunston. His name was spelled Shawan.
Shawan?
Yeah, but Sean. It was pronounced Sean.
If it didn't have the second A, that's definitely a reasonable spelling of Sean, but the extra A is a little weird. But anyway, that's Leah's reviews for the way to spell Sean.
I enjoyed how Sean Dunston spelled his name.
Oh, well, fun. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Sean heard someone knocking on his cabin door one night, and he opens the door, and he sees the ghostly apparition of Mr. McGee, and he's like, well, fuck.
I'm sorry, the second A is an O, actually. I just Googled it. It's Shawan Dunston, but pronounced Sean.
Fine.
There you go. Go ahead, Leah.
A silent O, I'll take it.
Silent O. Yeah, that's it.
Sorry.
You've had a few of those. Speaking of our sex life earlier in the episode. A few silent O's.
Bless your heart.
Jesus Christ. This has gone too far.
Anyway. So as soon as, open up the door, sees the ghost of Mr. McGee, and Mr. McGee starts talking, saying, hey, Mr. McIntosh basically is super duper a dickwad, and he was using green timbers to secure the mine shaft. So green timbers are like fresh cut wood. They haven't been cured or dried or anything like that, and they're still fresh kind of to where they're bendy and they've still got sap in the wood. Right. And if you use something like that, it's not as strong as kiln drying wood or anything like that. And so it will snap a lot easier or bend, and it can cause cave-ins, but that wood is a lot cheaper. So he had been using green timber to secure the mine shaft, and it caused a cave-in. And Mr. McGee's ghost told Sean, hey, I'm at this particular location in the mine buried under there. Go find my body, bro. I died of a cave-in because this guy is a Scroogey McAsshole face.
Oh, why could that not be the episode title?
Sorry. So the ghost was like, one more thing before I leave. Did Mr. McIntosh give Jenny the $2,000 that she's owed? And Sean was like, yeah, no, he totally said that you just ran off on her and isn't going to pay her anything. And the ghost was like, fuck that shit. I'm going to haunt his mind forever. And then he just sort of disapparated into the night air. So the next day, Sean goes and he leads a group of miners into the spot where the ghost told him the body would be. Mm-hmm. And the body was right where he said it would be. And so Sean and the rest of the miners join, quote, a well-armed delegation.
Oh no!
They go in and they threaten Mr. McIntosh, and they said,
a lynch mob, isn't it?
Pretty much. They don't lynch him or anything, but they go in and they threaten him very severely, and they said, hey, you clearly knew about this. This was your negligence. Are you gonna give her $2,000, or are we going to have to take care of this the old-fashioned way? And so he gave her $2,000, which probably a smart move. Yeah. And after that, all of his miners left to go work elsewhere. And he couldn't find anyone willing to work for him. And so basically, he ended up...
so they all knew about the ghost? Is that why? Couldn't find anybody to work for him?
I think it's just because they realized that he had built the mine in such an unsafe way that it was only a matter of time before the rest of them died in a cave-in as well. Okay. Just a guess, but they also report that a terrifying white ghostly figure will appear in the bottom of that mine, wailing and screaming and all that fun stuff. And
that does sound fun.
Yeah. And it's apparently people still see or hear that ghost occasionally today. And Mr. McIntosh died a poor man. Yeah, what are you going to do? But that particular location, I believe all of it has, once again, most of those properties that were operating as individual mines and stuff like that have all been purchased and are being run as a tourist destination now, and it is the Reed's Gold Mine outside of Charlotte, and you can tour some of those areas. You can pan for gold, a lot of stuff like that. I think it's free to go, but some of the activities you pay for.
Right.
So if you're looking into a fun family adventure where you might see a ghostly miner, why don't you head on over to Charlotte after all of this pandemic stuff is taken care of and have some good family fun?
Can you go in the mines?
I'm not sure about that. I would think that there's probably a way to do that, but I
like
can't.
They'll bust you down there or something?
Yeah, I mean, I've never been and I don't know, so I don't want to speak out of turn.
Well, thank you.
But if you'll Google it, it comes up with a fun website, and I've always wanted to try panning for gold because I was that kid that like
real gold though.
Yeah, like I
not
think
DeSoto Caverns gold.
Huh?
Not DeSoto Caverns.
Yeah.
Panning,
No, I mean like because I always did the thing when the tourist destinations, any of the place has the panning for gemstones setups. You'd get the screen and a bag of dirt that they had filled full of colorful rocks, and you just like washed them. Yeah. Like that was super fun, and I would do it every time, and my parents hated it.
Well,
but they'd let me do it because that was the one thing that I really wanted to do. So we did it a lot. But like actually panning for actual gold sounds like fun. Like for a couple of hours, not for a long period of time. I would also like to go to the Crater of Diamonds in Arkansas, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. There's also diamonds, so that could be a problem.
What?
Just saying. Like, you can't just have diamonds. Like, gold's kind of, the market's flooded with gold at this point.
No, gold's still at a very high rate.
Well, it comes and goes, but that's why you see those, we'll trade cash for gold things all the time.
Yeah.
And the market gets flooded with it, and then,
Either way, I still would like to visit both of those places. So.
Okay. Let's go.
All right. Well, are you ready for a Toasty McToasterson?
Yeah. Sure am. Especially when you call it that. I love when you do that. Go ahead.
All right. Well, everybody hoist your tumbler of water high into the sky.
Yeah, because you're on antibiotics.
Yeah. Not pregnant. BT dubs. Anyway. Everybody hoist your goblet of water high into the sky. Oh. We're doing a toast.
No.
A very poorly constructed toast.
My favorite.
The NASA gargoyle in the Texas sky is really kind of scary, but the corroborating NASA file is quite extraordinary.
Oh.
Right? No? Okay, sorry.
Keep going. Shit.
Don't stiff a dead man's widow. He'll come back to haunt your ass. He'll holler in your gold mine with all his ghostly sass. Drink.
There was nothing poorly constructed about that one. That was a good one. Which pisses me off more.
I misspelled the word stiff, and I actually wrote down don't sniff a dead man's widow.
Oh, way better. Oh, you should have done that. The story completely changes then.
He a freak.
Yeah. Excuse me, my husband told me I was supposed to get $2,000. Ma'am, come closer real quick. Okay.
Dude, if you've got the COVID, just
you.
Tell us.
Yeah, I don't have any money for you, but you smell fantastic. I want you to know that.
No, he's lost a sense of smell, so he's trying to sniff the widow, and he can't.
Man, look, I would love to get back to what you're talking about, but I just want to know if I could smell you. First of all, like not like with your permission, just in general. I'm
gonna sniff you when you're not paying attention.
Oh no, she'll be paying attention. She'll know it's happening. This isn't uninvited sniffing. Or this is an uninvited sniffing. There we go. Gross.
Very gross.
Oh, that's one of the funniest things I've heard this entire year. Speaking of people not being able to sniff things, leaving reviews for Yankee candles because they're like, I ordered all these candles and none of them have any smell. And they're like, have you looked at the COVID cases recently? Because you're one of the, 15 million that have caught it.
Yeah.
By the way, just FYI, you can't smell because you're sick, bitch.
Yep.
And you probably weren't wearing a mask. Look at you.
But, I'm starting to get my smell back, so that's exciting. I'm still not 100%, but it's better.
Mine's back, and it's not as sharp as it was. That's what's bothering me. So maybe I'm not 100%, or maybe it'll never be back to 100%. Because the nurse, the last time I went to get tested, told me that she caught it in either June or July, and her smell goes in and out. Everything else is fine, but her smell is, sometimes she can smell perfectly and sometimes she can't smell at all. And I'm worried about that, I
do say that I really enjoy smelling, but I did actually really enjoy not being able to smell farts or nail polish remover. Because, that was the only upside to having COVID is because nail polish remover smells awful and I don't like it. And then also farts.
In COVID, you got the tummy problems.
Yeah, so it was very useful that it knocks out your sense of smell because it's a powerful odor, so I've been told. I don't know.
What?
Couldn't smell it.
The farts? Oh, you're talking about you specifically?
But not just COVID farts in general.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. We weren't around other people. So the dogs never vomited. So that's got to be a win in our column.
Oh,
right?
Gross.
Or maybe our dogs had it too and they couldn't smell anything.
No, I hope not.
Yeah. They didn't have it. They didn't. They weren't sick at all. But they were still assholes.
Yeah.
So that's what they do.
And what's even better is that I guess, since I had a positive test, they randomly selected my positive test to send me a letter from the Alabama Department of Public Health to have me interviewed by someone. They've clearly hired a bunch of fresh college graduates that needed a job, kind of like census workers or whatever.
Yeah.
And they made this poor young man asked me all of these very personal questions about my symptoms for COVID. So I had to talk about my diarrhea symptoms to a poor young man that clearly did not want to be talking about diarrhea with some 30-year-old woman on the phone. But that was fun.
Holy shit, Leah. I didn't know you had to do that. I won't even tell a doctor I have diarrhea. I hate doing that.
No, that was one of the specific questions. Have you experienced diarrhea or loose stools? And then he was like, can you be more descriptive?
Yeah.
And I said, do you want texture, color, frequency? What are we going here
tell
for?
Him, when you get a cappuccino, the foam on top. Kind of like that. But we have bidets, so who can really know? Right? I never actually saw anything. Never actually touched it. But visually.
It was frothy.
Cappuccino froth.
Oh, I'm disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah. Really fucking gross, Leila.
This is why people stop listening to us.
Yeah. Have people stopped listening?
I have no idea.
Have
I'm
we
just
lost
saying.
listenership?
I'm just saying. It's probably going to be a contributing factor to the downfall of the Southern spirits.
Well, like I've said previously, there have been plenty of racist comments, sexist comments. We should be canceled at some point. Somebody's going to dig something up.
They were all made by you, though.
Do you know how many awful Facebook posts I have from 10, 15 years ago that people could easily find and be like, cancel these, but we're just so not worth it. Just
I've never looked at your Facebook that far back. I feel concerned now.
Well, when Facebook was something people actually used,
Yeah.
and it was fun around that time,
That's concerning.
Yeah.
Mine's all nerdy shit. So I didn't get a Facebook until I was in college. And like I said, it was all just I'm going to hang out with my sisters in the chapter room, rawr,
And see, I would have commented on that and just probably said some pretty awful things, But at the time, Leah, it was a different time.
I don't think it was a different time. I just think you used to be an asshole.
I was never an asshole, but I definitely had less of, oh God, I guess you could say an idea of how the world worked. Something like that.
You're a young privileged white man going to a very privileged white college.
There you go.
What are you going to do?
That'll do it. Yep. I was also drinking a lot. It was a great time, Leah. It was a great time to be alive.
No. Oh, well, are we done?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Is that all that we got?
That's everything.
Well, thanks everybody for listening. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Send us an email, southernspiritspodcast@gmail.com. Follow Leah's YouTube channel, Craftpocalypse, on YouTube. Join the Patreon, patreon.com/Southern Spirits Podcast. Give us some more beer money. We just made a beer run today. Got $230 worth of alcohol.
That was a lot of alcohol.
Yup. So we don't have to go shopping for a while again. Send us a postcard. P.O. Box 1743, Hartselle, Alabama 35640. Did I miss anything?
That should be everything.
All right, everybody. Well, we will see you next time.
Bye, y'all.